try!
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Professor Aaron Coots from the Faculty of Health at the University of Technology, Sydney. On behalf of Rugby Australia and the Sydney Cricket and Sports Ground Trust and the University of Technology, Sydney, I'd like to welcome you all here today to this momentous occasion. We've been sitting across the road here 200 metres away watching this building go up, and gee, it's exciting to partner with Rugby Australia and to innovate in research, teaching and sport. We're really looking forward to it. The opening of the Rugby Australia building, an Australian first facility that would advance elite sport, education and research, arrives today. Following the official opening, we'll have the opportunities for interviews and photos. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Peter McKenzie to conduct the Welcome to Country.
Thank you, sir. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests from the Rugby Union community, possibly from all over the world. My name is Dr. Peter McKenzie. I am a descendant and elder from the historic La Perouse Aboriginal community, situated here in our beautiful city of Sydney. On behalf of the current Land Council and elders of our community, I am very honoured to represent them in most warmly welcoming you to our traditional Aboriginal country for this opening of Rugby Australia's new building. The Welcome to Country is our contemporary interpretation of receiving visitors seek to visit areas within our traditional lands, or as we call it, country. This ceremony allows us to pay respect and to acknowledge our elders, past and present, to reflect on our shared history and build a vision for a prosperous and reconciled future. Our small Aboriginal community has a very proud record of being involved with Rugby Union through the efforts of the Ella brothers, Mark, Glenn and Gary. Pleased to see Gary over there. Is that Mark with him? No. My glasses. Along with their cousin Lloyd Walker, all of whom represent Australia on many occasions. And we as the local Land Council sincerely wish you every success with today's celebration of this exciting new endeavour. So finally, on behalf of the La Perouse Local Aboriginal Land Council and the traditional custodians, we wish you a safe passage back to your homes, secure in the knowledge, we hope, that you felt that you were very welcome in what we Sydney Koori still call our traditional country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. McKenzie. I'd now like to welcome the Honourable Craig Laundrie, the Assistant Minister for Industry, Innovation and Science.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here with my ministerial colleague Stuart Ayres, representing the New South Wales Government. Cameron, to you and to Attila for the vision in this. I was thinking last Saturday was a great day in Australian rugby. Any time you beat the All Blacks is a great day in Australian rugby. However, I believe today makes that pale into insignificance by comparison, because the collaboration that will occur here, the vision to have UTS and rugby in the same building is, I think, a game changer. I congratulate all involved in the vision that makes today possible. I acknowledge that our state government partners, along with us, are proud contributors to the project. I also am a proud rugby man. I notice Kirtley Beale at the end of the line here. I am an old boy of St Joseph's College at Hunters Hill, where Kirtley also attended. The school, sadly, is not doing as well today as it was when Kirtley was coming through. It has challenges across the board. And my son Charlie left there last year as well. So a proud rugby boy. So it really is, at a personal level, I wanted to say to all of you that have contributed and made today what it is, well done on the vision and for what it holds with obviously the women's sevens, the men's sevens, the 15-a-side, the Indigenous programs, all that will run out of here and the value add that will be created, I think is essential for us to compete on the world stage. And let's face it, we are a sport-mad nation. So to the men and women that we see in front of us, we hope you enjoy the facilities. We look forward to seeing your performance improve. And as I say again, any day we can beat the All Blacks is a good one, and facilities like this enable us to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Laundy. I'd now like to welcome the Honourable Stuart Ayres, the New South Wales Minister for Sport.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Craig, it's fantastic to be here with you as a member of the New South Wales Government who has, with the Commonwealth Government, contributed to development of a new home for rugby in Australia. Craig, you and Kirtley might have gone to school at St Joseph's, but Cameron and I went to school at St Dominic's College in Kingswood. And what that says to me is it doesn't matter where you go to school, where you grow up, you can aspire to be a Wallaby. You can be a person who wants to put on that gold jumper and play in the women's team at the Olympics. Rugby is a sport for everyone, whether you're from the North Shore of Sydney, the western suburbs of Sydney, or regional New South Wales. And haven't we built a fantastic facility here to house rugby in Australia? For our elite athletes at the top of their game, this is the facility that they need to continue to stay world class. If you want to beat the Wallabies, not just once but regularly, you need facilities like this to get the best out of your athletes. If you want to turn one gold medal into 2 or 3 gold medals, you need facilities like this to get the best out of your athletes. If you want to make sure that the athletes coming out of regional New South Wales can be the absolute best players that they can be, then you want a facility like this. And one of the most important things about this facility is that it's not just about rugby. It brings research and science and education together with those fantastic sporting opportunities. And I want to say a very, very big thank you to the University of Technology Sydney for coming with us on this journey. You have been a steadfast partner in the development of this facility, and I have got no doubt that it will pay significant dividends for your institution. You will be the sought-after institution for health and sports science, particularly when your students are housed in the same building as the Australian rugby team. To my friends and colleagues at the Sydney Cricket and Sports Ground Trust, I say a very, very big thank you for your work that you have done in bringing this building out of the ground. It's not always an easy thing to build something like this in one of the most busiest parts of the city. But it's fair to say that this building has gone up with almost no complaints from the local community, and that's because the SCG Trust has done such a good job at managing community engagement. We stand at the dawn of a new era in rugby in Australia, with a lot more wins in store, with a lot more athletes choosing to play rugby, and with a lot more gold medals in store. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rugby Australia.
Thank you, Minister Ayres. I'd now like to welcome Rugby Australia Chairman, Cameron Klein.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you all with us today, and firstly I'd like to thank Craig Laundy MP, the Assistant Minister in Industry, Innovation and Science, and the Honourable Stuart Ayres, the New South Wales Minister for Sport, joining us on this historic occasion and doing the honours to officially open this wonderful facility. For Australian rugby, this is our dream home, and it simply wouldn't have been possible without the support of the Australian Government and the New South Wales State Government, and we thank them for this significant investment in the future of Australian rugby. With the opening of this building today, the foundation for the future of rugby in Australia has been laid, and it provides the perfect opportunity to make a further announcement on our future. Today, the Australian Rugby Union becomes Rugby Australia. The change in our corporate identity and a new brand, which is splashed across the building facade here on Moore Park, has been over a year in the making. The changes are to reflect the shifting landscape in our game, to project the modern face of rugby, a game which is enjoyed by men, women, boys and girls, people of all different shapes and sizes and from many different backgrounds. The new brand is the first step in helping us achieve our vision to inspire all Australians to play our great global game. The Rugby Australia building is the first official home for our Qantas Wallabies, our Bilcorp Wallaroos and the Qantas Australian Sevens teams. And our co-location with the University of Technology Sydney, integrated within one of the nation's leading sporting precincts, will provide tremendous benefits for our national high performance programs. This is where the groundwork will be laid for our national teams, and the doors have opened at a pivotal time, with the Commonwealth Games just 6 months away on the Gold Coast and just 2 short years away from the Rugby World Cup in Japan. We invite everyone in the local community to come in and check out our high performance areas, and you might just be lucky enough to bump into one of our Wallabies, Wallaroos or Australian Seven Stars. But I'm also proud to announce that the Rugby Australia building is the new home to the Ella Brothers Indigenous Learning Centre. Named in honour of 3 of our finest Wallabies, Glenn, Mark and Gary, who've given so much to our game and continue to do tremendous work in the Indigenous community. Last weekend, we paid tribute to the contribution of the 14 Indigenous players who have worn the iconic Wallabies jersey when the team ran out in a special Indigenous design jersey, and we were delighted that the Ella Brothers were with us in Brisbane for such a great occasion. The Ella Brothers Indigenous Learning Centre will provide a space for education and community seminars, as well as conferences and learning programs which aim to nurture the next generation of Indigenous rugby players. We look forward to bringing you along on the journey as we kick off a new era for the game, which begins right here at our new headquarters. On behalf of Rugby Australia, I thank you all again for joining us today.
Thank you, Cameron. I'd now like to welcome the University of Technology Sydney Vice-Chancellor, Professor Attila Brungs.
Thank you kindly, Aaron. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today with our partners, Rugby Australia, the Sydney Cricket Grounds Trust, to formally open this fantastic new facility. The SCG precinct is a place steeped in the story of great Australian sporting moments and history. And today we're adding another story to that layer, a layer that brings new thinking of UTS sport, exercise and health science students and researchers together with one of our greatest sporting organisations, Rugby Australia. With the great support of the federal and state governments, it really is a rich partnership that will promises and will deliver so much for our nation. Picture a Year 12 student just sort of sitting down doing their HSC now, loving sport, thinking about doing sports science or physio. And then next year, should they come here to UTS, their day-to-day campus experience will not only be in this fantastic building, but they'll be rubbing shoulders with perhaps a Wallaby front row, an Olympic gold medalling women's rugby sevens player, and all sorts of other elite athletes. That would blow their mind. Not only that, rubbing shoulders with elite athletes, they'll also be rubbing shoulders with elite research community. Our next generation sports scientists will have access to the latest digital technologies, including environmental chambers, muscle physiology, biochemistry, robotics, biomechanics, and much, much more. It'll be an incredible way to get an education. UTS is known for our industry connections, and this building partnership is a perfect example of one, and we're particularly proud of. And again, I'd like to sincerely thank Rugby Australia, the SCG Trust, and the wonderful support of the state and federal governments for making this possible. Now, excitingly, this facility is the first one of its kind in Australia. And as I was thinking through it, I was actually rather surprised. I mean, given Australia's reputation for our sporting prowess, our international reputation for being great sports people, given we also have an international reputation for punching way above our weight in research and creativity, the fact that we've never brought these two things together as we've done today is actually rather surprising. So I've got great hopes for what will come out of this building. We'll be able to produce students and professionals who'll be ready for all sorts of jobs in these fields in the future, produce researchers who really understand the nitty-gritty of sport by working with real sports people every day, and also produce outcomes from that research that will not only propel Australian sports to even greater heights, but help the overall health of our entire nation. So the creation of this building is just a deeper collaboration with Rugby Australia and the wider sports community, and as you can tell, I cannot wait to see what happens. Again, thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Brungs. I'd now like to welcome the Sydney Cricket and Sports Ground Trust Chairman, Tony Shepherd.
Thank you very much, Aaron, and welcome everybody. It's delightful to have you here at the wonderful SCG precinct. And the Trust is incredibly proud to host this world-first development. This Rugby Australia building will set the standard for elite sport in Australia, if not the world. This precinct has been home to rugby since 1882, when New South Wales played Queensland in the first interstate match on these grounds. And I'm pleased to say that we triumphed and beat the Cane Toads. The Wallabies first tested the SCG in 1899 against Britain, I think kick-started the passion of this city and this state for rugby that continues today. And again, I'm happy to report we did beat the Poms. This stadium hosts the Wallabies' June's Tests, the Sydney Sevens, and of course, all of the New South Wales home fixtures are played here at Allianz. This facility completes the sporting families based here. We now have the headquarters of clubs and codes across rugby, cricket, AFL League and football. As Tiller has said, the introduction of UTS to this world-class facility is truly unique. Their expertise in sports science and innovation creates many opportunities for the UTS students who will be based on site. And in the longer term, it will raise the standard of care for our athletes and raise the standard of expertise and professionalism of those working in this critical field. We've enjoyed the build-up of our relationship with UTS over the last few years. UTS has a well-earned reputation for producing work-ready graduates. Very refreshing in my experience. This great facility will produce the people required to support our national religion, which of course is sport. I congratulate the ARU, UTS and both the New South Wales and federal governments for their foresight in backing and encouraging the development of this world-class facility. A facility that will set a new benchmark for collaboration in sport and science. The SCG precinct has been a place of sporting pilgrimage for more than 160 years, and now it becomes a classroom for the next generation of men and women looking to excel in the off and on-field performance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. I'd now like to invite the Honourable Craig Laundy and Honourable Stuart Ayres to unveil the Rugby Australia building plaque.